Welcome to this episode of the Standing Ovation. Today, Ovation CXM experts explain the basics of customer journey mapping.
One of the main questions we get is like, what is a customer journey map? And realistically, when you look at it, it's like the life cycle of that customer's experience with your organization, your company, from the first time they interact with you all the way to the end of them being a customer. And ideally, it's a journey that never ends. And so when you look at it from an overarching perspective, your master customer journey is just a collection of smaller journeys. That could be from activation, that could be from onboarding, from support. And so when we look at mapping the actual customer journey, it's looking at each of those individual journeys. What are the touch points? What are the tasks and the experiences within, just so we can find that optimal experience for our customers as we progress that.
I think one of the important things about a customer journey map, especially as you're working inside of large enterprise organizations, is it's really important to understand what's the experience of the customer navigating your organization, right? They're trying to get from point A to point B or C or X, and often internally at enterprises we design around how do I make this process in my department work most efficiently? And then the next department does the same. And what we don't often do is pull up and say, okay, what's it like for a customer to start here and bounce into each one of those individual silos, right? And what often happens is, each one of those organizations will measure how satisfied was that customer with this experience of my particular piece of what they're trying to accomplish. And it may be, hey, you did what I needed you to do. But when you string all of that together, the customer says, it felt so disjointed. Everybody handed me off to somebody else. I didn't know who I was talking to next. I didn't know where I was in the process. So a big part of a customer journey mapping exercise for us is really getting people out of the internal focus and say, what's it like actually for the customer to be engaging with your organization, traversing all of these departments and systems as they try to get from, wow, I didn't know I needed that and I really want it, to I have it now and I'm really happy with it, right? And so that's a big part of the mapping process, is just understanding what is it like for a customer to be going through a journey across your organization.
Yeah, and I think we see it more often than not where, and it kind of goes into like why journey mapping is important. We've seen it more often than not where you have this autonomy in decision making or solutioning around vertically organized teams. And so over the last couple of decades, we've seen a massive shift of adoption in technology and third party different platforms to help increase both delivery of service to our customers, but then also new products and services to our customers. And so over that time, if you snap out of that 10, 15, 20 years later, you start to see this like hodgepodge of different collections of journeys across. And to Tim's point, you have, oftentimes if you're buying 3 different products from a large organization, it could feel as though you've just worked with 3 different companies. And now what we're talking about here is being able to take a step back and looking at it from that customer's perspective and optimizing that journey along the way.
One of the big ahas we get out of organizations when we go through a journey mapping process with them is, that a lot of them have said, look, I've tried to change my business. I've partnered with these technology experts to help deliver these cutting edge solutions to my clients. I've built an ecosystem of providers. I've digitized a lot of the communications with my customers, and all those things are great. But if you don't have a holistic thread pulling it all together, and a really consistent way of delivering across all of those things for the customer, it can actually feel more confusing for customers. Because when you think about it, a journey map really consists of, who's the customer, who are they working with, right? What team in this particular step, what communications channel are they working through, right? And that's where people often start. Well, I'm just going to throw some digitization in there and that'll fix everything. No, actually, that's just one part of a step of a journey. You've got to look at the whole thing. And then what systems do those people live in? And sometimes, are there other companies that I'm working with in that particular delivery? all of those things need to be pulled together vertically and then threaded together horizontally. Because when you think about it, businesses don't buy from businesses, right? It's people buying from other people. And if you think about your customer, right, a person inside of a client from a commercial enterprise relationship standpoint, you think about what's their consumer life like? When they order food or groceries online, they can see where am I in this process? What is the journey from end to end? Where am I? Who's got the ball? Who's got next? When can I expect to see this? Right? So it manages expectations and it drives visibility to a customer, even though there may be different people engaged in each one of those steps. It's a fairly simple thing for a customer to see. Executing against it is complicated, which is why we have platforms that help deliver that.
We really start from the top, which is what is that overarching journey? And as we mentioned earlier, your customer's journey will consist of multiple smaller journeys depending on where they are in any given process, what products or services they have purchased. And then going down, any of those journeys consist of stages. And within those stages, there's different interactions, events, and tasks. Now, the unique thing about this is as you get into the stages, a lot of those interactions, events, and tasks, those are typically, consist within specific teams or other organizations. And a lot of times when customers are looking at this, they look at it from the bottoms up, which is instead of looking at it from the overarching journey and the stages and how we can optimize, each individual interaction, they look at it from optimizing it from each individual team. And so if you're looking only at the events and the tasks, you start to lose the big picture along the way. And so what we've found has been super helpful is starting from the top. What is the journey? This is a buying journey. This is an onboarding journey. This is servicing. And then within that, what are the stages? So customer just signed up, customer just received hardware, or customer just received their login. And then as we progress through that, we want to talk about which teams are responsible for which actions and then which events and tasks they are managing. And so as we progress through that, you get a true picture from top to bottom and from left to right, every single stage and event that has gone on in any given journey. And it allows you to optimize it from a whole. Again, from the customer's perspective is what we're focused on, not necessarily optimizing for individual teams that are, vertically focused or focused on a singular task along the way.
It's natural as an organization delivering enterprise solutions to try to think about how am I going to optimize the cost and efficiency of my delivery to a client. And when you begin to think about it in that way, as Tyler said, you tend to look at delivery to a client from the bottom up, the system that you're using, the tasks you're trying to complete, the engagement channels that you're using with that customer. And you often fall into optimizing for functional expertise and efficiency within functions. I'm going to make my underwriting function the best, most efficient thing I can possibly do because as the manager of underwriting, that's my job. I'm going to make that, the onboarding and risk assessment process really efficient for my team and for the system that they use. And it's a natural thing for enterprises when they get large to think about things in that way, right? I'm going to optimize based on the teams and departments and functions that I've got internally. The challenge is, as customers traverse horizontally, all of those functions that enterprises have optimized efficiencies for vertically, it feels super disjointed. It can feel completely unrelated, one group to the next, to the next, to the next. And, frankly, the visibility inside those teams goes to near nothing, right? I don't know who's going to be handling this next. And then quite often, if you're trying to do a good job as a delivery person inside of an enterprise that's organized functionally, you've kind of sneaker netted your way into connecting the dots for customers. You've got phone calls, you've got a small crib sheet of, I think you'll probably be working with Michelle in risk, but let me check to see if that's who's going to be handling you next. I'm not sure. Those are just not great experiences for customers. And so it's a simple thing. It's not a simple thing to accomplish, but it's a simple concept. If you just give a customer horizontal visibility of your vertically organized enterprise, and you let everybody inside those verticals know who's got the ball, who's got next, what do they need to know, then you actually don't have to reorganize your entire company to deliver a great experience. You just need to re-architect the way the customer traverses it. And so a large part of what we do from a journey mapping standpoint is uncover for enterprises that experience from a customer standpoint. What is it like to go across a vertically optimized functional organization as a customer trying to get from one end of it to the other? And it's often a big eye opener. Why journey mapping is so crucial is to show to organizations, here's what it's like when a customer is trying to navigate all of these things you piece together. If you don't give them visibility, if you don't give yourself visibility, if you don't let people know what they need to know when they need to know it, right? Who's got the ball? Who's got next? What do I have to go do? When can I expect this to be completed?
Yeah, and I think to add to that, like how many times have we had conversations where there's that aha moment where you're mapping this out? It's like, wait, I just realized that there's a 10-day gap between the time that the customer was touched here and the customer was reached back out to. And then we start looking at like real business outcomes. It's pre-activation churn. It's poor customer experience in that onboarding, which leads into a bad taste in their mouth before they even get onboarded with your product. And so that to me is one of the benefits to doing the exercise and having people from different teams, but then also different levels within the organization to give their input. It's not only the people that are coming in that are doing the boots on the ground, that are doing the work and laying the rails for the customer to actually interact with our customer, but then also from an executive standpoint, the buy-in and the dedication to our customer and our customer journey, and seeing what that does to business outcomes. And so back to the main point, you can almost guarantee that in just doing a simple exercise and call it 60, 90 minutes, you will have that aha moment. You will find at least one benefit in there that you can make a switch, a quick change that will rebound down the line and actually drive benefit pretty quickly. Setting up journey mapping sessions, the first thing is we like everyone to be present and be focused on exactly what we're there to achieve, which is diving into each individual stage of each individual journey that our customers go through. And so typically, we do these in full day offsite or onsite meetings, consisting of employees of all different teams, all different levels within those teams, both from customer facing roles, but then also some of those that might not be customer facing, some of those that are in more of the technology or the developer side. Every single person is part of this team that is focused on building tools and systems for our customers. And so we want everyone to be involved from all different levels and focused on the task at hand, which is diving deep into each of these journeys. So when we look at what we want to bring to these sessions, we've done them using digital tools that help map them out for some that need to be remote. We also, I think one of the best ways we've done it is getting in a room on a whiteboard with sticky notes and Sharpies and mapping out, the big customer stages, dropping sticky notes of these are gain points. These are positive interactions for our customers. These are some of the pain points. These are areas in which that drive frustration for our customers. And then we get into what communication channels are we using? Is this SMS text message? Is this email, a phone? Is this someone coming in site or on site? Or what are the systems and platforms that we are using to talk with our customers or to aggregate some of the information which we're using to communicate with our customers? So those are, again, the high level of how do we structure these, who should be involved, but then also, what are we looking to map in each of these stages?
That's certainly, one of the things that we see really be really effective as we're driving sort of a journey mapping exercise is, and I'm going to borrow from one of our favorite enterprises that we've worked with, how they talk about it. You think about both on stage and backstage, right? On stage, what does the customer see, right? So what are they trying to accomplish? What team are they interacting with? What systems is that team using? How are they interacting? As Tyler said, is it a call? Is it an email? Is it how are they engaging? All of that stuff that the customer sees, and then it's really critical to get the backstage people engaged as well. Okay, so how is that actually getting delivered? What team is doing the work to ensure that that customer gets what they need, or that the people who are facing the customer get what they need? What systems are they using? What is it like for them to try to accomplish that, right? So that you see not only what is the experience of your customer in touching your organization, but what is the experience of the people in your organization trying to get it done for that customer? Because quite often that uncovers huge insights, particularly where we've seen increasingly enterprises are partnered with third-party companies, technology partners, solution providers, platform providers. Okay, great. Well, so let's have those people in the room with us so that we can understand when the enterprise asks a third-party vendor or provider to do something, well, what's it like for that organization to try to accomplish that end? And how does the enterprise see it? And there's quite often a real fracture point there between those two, that, if you solve it and you get that end-to-end visibility organizationally, you can then deliver better holistic experience to the customer in total. So we like to have both the people who face off against the customer engaged in these sessions, as well as the people who are responsible for delivering. They're not always the same. A broad range of people engaged in these journey mapping exercises is, when you're looking to solve things for customers end to end, quite often the answers are already there. Your people already know what doesn't work. And the mapping exercise is simply a great way for them to get that out in front of the management team that can do something about it, right? So a big part of this process is just facilitating. We know that business process that this team's engaged in is super painful and the customer sees it. Let's make sure that we show the teams that are making decisions about how they're going to improve things internally, show them what the impact is on the clients who are trying to go through that process as well.
To learn more about CXM Engine by Ovation CXM and see it in action, visit ovationcxm.com.